Today I'm going to work with atmospheric perspective and a little bit about working with wet and wet edges and with soft edges and just creating a little bit of an illusion of depth. I have a scene from Año Nuevo, which is between Half Moon Bay or between Pescadero and Santa Cruz. And it's a really lovely place. So what I'm seeing in my reference photo is some really soft mountains in the distance and clouds, but very soft. Kind of a gray, a blue gray with a little bit of green in there. And in the foreground, there's a lot of vegetation. It's got a lot of texture. And there's a white building. It's the visitor center at Año Nuevo on the left side. It's actually, the photo is pretty much divided into thirds, with the top third, whoops, look, my pencil has no end. The pencil with no end. So I'm going to start by doing a drawing, putting my horizon line pretty much at about a third. And it doesn't have to be really straight, it's not the water. And there's some hills or mountains back in here. So.
Sylvia, could you share the reference photo so that we can see what you're doing compared to what you're looking at?
Well, I've tried that before, but it doesn't.
Before.
Yeah, well, that's when I record it and I put the reference photo in the recording.
Okay.
No, the reason I said take a screenshot or even look at the image that I sent you on your phone is because it just doesn't work, because I'm recording what my camera is seeing, and that's what you are seeing right now.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that on my phone.
The only other way I could do it would be if I were to leave the meeting and then put the photo as, you know, it's my profile photo.
No, don't leave the meeting.
It's a good question though, Elise. It's just that it's one of those things that becomes complicated. It shouldn't be, but it is.
Okay.
If you have more than one device, so you can look at the image on one device and be in the Zoom session live on the other.
That's what I think is the best thing to do. And the way this photo is, it means that there's going to be a lot of texture in the foreground area. And, you know, I may wish I had done it differently, but oh, well, we'll just see. We're going to look at technique more than anything anyway. I'm just going to draw in where this building is here. And I'm going to show you something. Let's see if this will work. Oh, I'm just going to paint around it this time. If I wanted to, I could put a piece of tape over the building, you know, like Scotch Magic tape. Let's see if I have an X-Acto knife to cut the shape though. Let's see one right away. You need to leave the white of this visitor center without paint on it. So you can either use Frisket, you can paint around, or you can use tape. Oh, here's an X-Acto. Okay, I'll try that. Okay, so I've got a piece from a Scotch tape. Putting it over, well, I got to get a clean one. That was a dirty piece of tape. I should use a new roll of tape because a fresh roll of tape is always better. Well, here's one. See, just regular Scotch Magic tape. putting it over my building shape. Now I'm taking, oh, this is not a very sharp X-Acto. Let's hope it'll work. Now I'm going to cut around. And not the roof, because I can just paint that in. Okay, now I have to lift the tape and remove the part that I want paint on. Hopefully this cut, because it's not a very good X-Acto blade. Tim, are you going to do any plein air in the fall?
Yeah, I am. I mean, the weather's warming up nicely, and there are two groups actually that meet locally that I'm interested in both. And so tomorrow, actually, there's a group, Jane Hurd's group is meeting up at the San Marcos foothills. So it's open to anybody that wants to join it.
Are you going to take any of the plein air classes though?
Yes, but I was gonna sign up last night. I need to do that.
I don't know if
So-
you were here when I said I signed up for John's class.
Oh, good. Yeah. So usually, well, often there's a schedule conflict between he and whoever else. You know, I got to see what those are. But he
Right.
was doing two this term on Tuesdays, so I signed up for one of them. I'm in one of them this
Yeah,
afternoon.
have the one that's in the afternoon. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, well, hopefully I'll see you there.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Okay, now let's see here. What time is it? Oh boy, I got half an hour. All right, so I'm not going to do it exactly the way that lady did. I'm going to wet the top first, the sky and the hills. And I'm going to do a sky, a little more of a sky than what was in the demo or what's in the photo. I'm going to use cobalt blue at the top. Very top. And it's sort of a diagonal. I'm leaving some places where there's still some white of the paper. Coming back in with a little more intense color. Whoops, it's dripping. I'm going to mix a little bit of burnt sienna. Well, first I'm going to add a little bit of Viridian to the cobalt, closer to the horizon here. Oh, my monitor, that has my photo on it keeps going in and out. Wouldn't you know? Now I'm going to add a little bit of cobalt or burnt sienna to my cobalt blue. I want to make a little bit of a gray, but I want it to have some of that similar color. And then I'm going to come in with some of that. just to get a variety of color and value and so forth. And I don't want to do too much to it because the less you do with the sky, the better. However, it might be fun just to see if I can add a little bit of a area that looks like it's going to rain. So I'm tilting my board just slightly. And I'm letting some of that get heavy. It's about to break loose. Elise, can you mute yourself?
Sorry.
And if I want to make it look even more rainy, I can add a little bit of water to the bottom of some of these shapes. Okay. Okay, that's all right. Now I'm going to do some of the hills in the distance. I've got a darker tone here, it's like something that's kind of in the way. Okay, what color shall I make these hills in the distance? I guess I'll make them, well, like a little bit of green to them. And I think I'll do what we saw in the video, which is have a little bit of a warmer tone to one side. So I'm going to use, believe it or not, some sap green back in here. And put a little bit of a, I'll mix that with a little bit of the sky color that I just did. I'm going to come in and start this side. Where's my quinacridone sienna? I thought I would use some of that too. So I'm going to mix a little bit of this, put it on my palette. Oh, I got something on here. That's a pretty bright color, actually. So I've got to water it down. But I'm going to add a little bit of it in here. Now, one reason I'm doing this is I'm going to add it to the foreground, and I don't want to just have it completely separate color from in the foreground that's not anywhere else. So I'm putting some of that back here too. I want to make it looks like there's a little bit of mist that's collecting down closer to the other trees. So maybe I'll put a little bit of more blue in there too. Okay, on the other side, I want to make it cooler, so I'm going to use a little French ultramarine. And still a little bit of burnt sienna. I kind of lost my drawing. Oh, there it is. Now just water. I'm putting in water to soften that edge. Have to paint around the roof of this visitor center. There's some other little white, lighter colored buildings that are sticking out over here too. Oh, I think I forgot one. Let me take a tissue. So I'm getting some bleed back over on this side where the water started to go back up in.
Oops, sorry.
Okay. Okay, while this is still wet, I'm going to drop some green in there, but I'm not going to use a warm green. I'm going to use a cooler green like Viridian. But I want it more muted, so I'm going to put a little bit of burnt sienna in there. Well, it's going to make it more of a warm green. Okay, I should have put a little bit of ultramarine in there. Okay, now let's drop some of that in while this is still wet into this wet shape, just to give it more visual interest. And it's wonderful to see how the color starts to create a beautiful kind of a granular quality as it blends together on the wet surface. As I get over to this side with my trees on that side, I'm going to add a little bit of violet because I want to try to keep this side a little bit more warm.
I don't know how it's looking in real life, but on the screen, it looks like that quinacridone really settled down a lot.
Yeah, it did. I'm happy with that. Speaking of that, I'll add a little bit in here too, just to bring it a little bit more into this area. Okay. And I have 15 minutes left, so get cracking, Sylvia. All right, I can't really paint the trees yet because I want them to I want to wait a little bit until it's not quite so wet. So I'm going to work on the foreground, and the foreground is going to go fairly fast because I'm going to just wet the area here. It's the middle ground. And I'm going to start with underpainting of yellow ochre. And here I've got a diagonal going the opposite way of what I had in the sky. Some sap green. Oh, a little bit of, let's see, I guess this is trying to figure out, is this I've got that wonderful green, is Perylene green. I think I'll add a little bit of that. Well, that doesn't look like it. I'll have to tone it down. With some burnt sienna. Let's try some quinacridone sienna. Oh, especially in this area. Let's do a little spatter here. And yellow ochre. And ultramarine blue mixed with the sky color that I had.
A New Orleans caterpillar.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I can't get away from it. Not that I want to.
It's the Trump caterpillar you want to get away from.
Oh, oh yeah,
There's actually a thing.
there is.
Oh, yes, you can Google it.
Oh, no. If this is fun, you guys, I hope you're going to try this, where you just drop colors into a wet area. I haven't done the salt yet. But I think I should think about it soon. And the credit card thing too, probably. Let's see, I'm going to switch to a different brush. a round brush. And start doing some grassy shapes with the foreground area. Dropping in some darks. So start to look at your value pattern as you're painting and where you want to have some darker darks. And remember, mixing burnt sienna with ultramarine blue is a great way to get some of those darks. Okay, I need a few warmer tones in here too, spatters. And there are a few stray spatters back here I have to soften. There's a bird, I guess. That's going to be a bird back there. Okay, let me get the salt out. Sprinkle some salt. And oh dear, where's that old credit card? Well, if you can't find a credit card, you have to resort to one of these kind of things like a brush that has an angle on the end or something like that. And you can start to scrape back in if it's not too wet. Might be too wet still. Okay, I've got to put in some more darks in here now. These are like layers. If you think about your distant vegetation as, you know, layers or hills. And here in the very foreground, it gets really, really dark. I'm breaking up some of the white space here. Now I need to work on my buildings and my trees in the distance. So I have a flat brush, I think it's a 1/2 inch or not sure exactly, but I've got to paint the roof of that building back here, which is a warm kind of a greenish tone. Oh, I've got my tape on it for, well, not on that part, I guess, but got my tape on the building, so. And I'm going to paint some trees now back there. So I'm dropping a little bit of a different green tone in there as I go. Going to my Hooker's green, which I'm adding some ultramarine blue to because it's a darker green. Okay, it's just about noon, so I might have to just finish this up tomorrow in my class and then send you the video, but I think you can see the direction that I'm going with this. You can see that I've started with the sky and you used a diagonal in my design of the clouds, and then I put in the distant hills. I think this is a little too warm. These mountains in the background, I'll probably tone those down with more of a blue or a muted tone. And then I think I need to soften some of the edges of some of these trees right here too, because these are in the distance. So while it's still damp, then I'll lift out a little bit.
Really looks lovely so far. So
Yeah, it's gorgeous, Sylvia.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I
The
think
color
it's
fabulous.
It's a good start, but you know how it is with anything. It's probably good to step away for a little bit. And then what I want to do is put in the darker trees over here. And then I'll bring out some of these buildings, and then I'll work with some of the layers here and more texture. But I don't want to do more than I need to do because I like the spontaneity of it too.
yeah,
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 I-
your perspective is very nice. The sky is fabulous.
So I missed a little bit because my internet went down briefly, but I missed how you did those beautiful clouds. Did you lift at all, or was it just putting in wet? Can you
I didn't lift. I started
Uh-huh.
with cobalt blue at the top. I wet the whole thing. Then I started with cobalt blue, and then I added Viridian down here, so it would get warmer toward the horizon. And then I came back in with a mixture of burnt sienna and cobalt blue for the darker And then I tilted it.
Beautiful. They came out so great.
Oh, thanks. I also,
And you left the white of the paper for the white light parts.
yeah, and I think I added a little more water. You see how there's kind of a wet shape in here?
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
added a little water to that. Just let me close the curtains because I don't think you can see the lighter values very well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that helps. Great.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah, so anyway, it's a start, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to finish it tomorrow, and then I'll process the video and send it to you by probably, I'm not sure if it'll be Thursday or Friday. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's lovely, Sylvia. Thank you. You're
Thanks,
so kind.
Sylvia.
Thank you,
Bye.
Sylvia.
It's wonderful.
Take
Thank you,
care.
Sylvia. Wonderful job. Thank you.
It's so good to be painting again, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, here.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.